How we doing? Hey, big welcome to you. It's great to be together today. Hey, let's give a quick shout out to all of our campuses over at the Edgewood campus, Aberdeen, Abingdon, here at Mountain Road. Those watching, participating online, welcome to you. These last few weeks, we have been on, I think, what's been a really fun journey. All right, we've been looking at the world around us. We've been looking at nature, the creation that we live in. And in it, we're finding God's beauty. We're finding God's presence. We're finding God's creativity. And there are all these little moments when we as people get to see God and his creation that we live in, where he reveals himself to us in some kind of special way. And sometimes it feels like God is winking at us through some subtle beauty. You know what I mean? It's just like God's like, hey, I'm here. But then there are these other times when we experience something that is so profound that it takes our breath away and all. In the scripture, it's filled with the authors who would look at the world, the created world around them, realizing it all points back to a God who is brilliant in his design. Psalm 95, it says it this way. It says, "For the Lord is the great God, the great King above all gods. In his hands are the depths of the earth, and the mountain peaks belong to him. The sea is his, for he made it, and his hands formed the dry land." You see, that psalm, it starts by reminding us that God is king over all creation. It is his. He made it. He rules it. He has authority over it. And when you look at the world around you, well, it should lead you to praise, because all of creation has an imprint on it that points back to the creator who made it. The beauty and the complexity and the grandeur of creation leads us to ask the question, like, who thought of that? Where did it come from? Whose idea was this? And ultimately, when we ask those questions, they point us back to a creator, the creator. A few years back, I had one of those moments where, God's splendor and his beauty and his creation, it just struck me to the core of my spirit. All right, it was June of 2020. Anybody remember 2020 by chance? Anybody? June of 2020, the lockdowns had just been lifted, but nobody was really going anywhere. All right, everyone was kind of staying put. And so my buddy Randy, he reached out and he said, "Hey, I've got some Southwest tickets that are going to expire soon. Like, you want to hop on a plane and go take a trip and see some stuff?" And I'm like, "Yeah, bro, let's go." Everything was so stinking cheap. Airlines were vacant. No one was traveling. And so this seemed like a really cool opportunity to see some stuff that otherwise I wouldn't be able to see. And he said, here's the deal. We're going to leave on this date, and we're going to go someplace. You just show up to the airport, and I'll let you know where we're going when you get there. And for some of you, that would be terrifying. You have a panic attack even thinking about it, all right? You planners would hate it. But for me, like, let's go, bro. I am down for the adventure. Where are we going? I don't care. I'm with Randy, all right? And we pack up, and my buddy Mark, who's our worship pastor at our Abingdon campus, myself and Randy, we all jump in a car, we get to the airport. We have a few things packed. Like, we asked Randy ahead of time, what should we bring? And he's like, "Dude, it's June. Pack like it's June. Shorts and sandals. It's going to be awesome." And we get to the airport, we get up to the gate, and he hands us our tickets. And where are we heading? San Francisco, Northern California. I don't care what time of year it is. Shorts and sandals are never appropriate for Northern California, okay? But we get on the plane, and we're like, we're going to deal with it. But what are we going to do when we get there? He had nothing planned. He just had the tickets and a hotel. He's like, when we get there, we'll figure it out. And so we start looking up what we should do, and we decided we're going to go see some national parks. Like, we're going to go see some of the creation that's on the West Coast that we never get to see. Mark didn't come prepared. I'm down for the adventure, but I'm also a planner, all right? I always come prepared. I want to know whatever adventure it is, I'm going to be ready for it. So I did pack some really nice shoes. Mark, on the other hand, literally only packed sandals. And so we get there, and we're like, we're going to go to these parks. You can't hike in sandals. So we did what everyone on a budget does. We went to Walmart to get some shoes to hike in. I don't know if you've ever hiked in Walmart shoes before. As you'll find out, bad idea, okay? And we grabbed some shoes, and we decided, hey, we're going to go see some of these parks. Here's the deal. During COVID, the parks didn't close. All right, they're places that were open to the public, and so they didn't close, but the parking lots did. All right, and that doesn't make a ton of sense to me, but they did. So we decide we're going to go to Muir Woods. We're going to see that first, and we drive down, and we get there, and the entrance to the park is closed off. There's a guard standing there, and he's like, you got to park 2 miles down the road. You park there, and then you walk up, and you can get in. And we're like, but there's a big parking lot here that's empty. And he's like, guys, I'm just doing what I was told. Back off. But I'm with Randy, and here's the thing about Randy. Randy has a way about him. Randy gets whatever Randy wants. He just smooth talks. and he will sweet talk, and he will get whatever he wants. The next thing I know, much to my surprise, this guard throws open the gates. He's like, have fun, I'll give you 15 minutes. And so we're the only car in the parking lot, parked right up front, and in 15 minutes, we sprint through Muir Woods, and we see some of the most beautiful, gorgeous redwood trees. I mean, just breathtaking. If I'm standing here like, you need 2 of my wingspans to see the width of this tree. That's me standing at the bottom, just blown away by it. 15 minutes, made the loop, got out of there. The next day, we're like, where do you want to go? Let's go to Yosemite. Anybody been to Yosemite? It's incredible, but here's the thing about Yosemite. It was not closed, but ticketed because they were trying to keep down the number of people who could be in at one time. And so we got online, of course, sold out, right? Because everybody on earth bought an RV during COVID, and they all went to Yosemite. And so we decided, well, we don't have tickets, but we do have Randy. And so we get in a car, and we head towards Yosemite, and we get about a half hour outside of Yosemite, and we pull into a gas station, got to load up on water and beef jerky, all the essentials. And we get out, and we're inside kind of getting, and all of a sudden we see this tour bus pull up, and we look outside, and it's like a sign from heaven. The side of the tour bus says Yosemite on it. And so we run out, and the guy opens his door, and we look at him, we're like, hey, bro, you going to Yosemite? He's like, yeah, I'm going to Yosemite. Like, can we catch a ride with you? He said, for $20 you can. We're like, let's go, all right? So we're there. He's like, here's the deal. You got to be out by 8 p.m. I'm going to give you a ticket. This ticket will get you on any of the buses coming out. You just tell him to stop at this gas station. We throw the guy in the gas station $20. He lets us leave our car there, and we start on this drive through Yosemite where every turn was more breathtaking than the one we just had gone on. Blowing my mind around following this beautiful flowing river, the trees, the rock formations, the mountains, and eventually we come around a corner and we see the goat, El Capitan, okay, just sitting there looking at us, staring us in the face, just the gorgeous formation of God's creation, and it just struck me to my core, and I thought, I want to climb that. Turns out we didn't have time to climb that. That climb takes a few days. But what we did have time for was the opportunity to climb Yosemite Falls. And here's a picture from the ground of Yosemite Falls. I took this one kind of looking up, right up to the top up there. Just this gorgeous scenery. And Yosemite Falls is about 3 miles up and 3 miles back down, 5,400 feet, step after step after step after step. And we said, let's do it. And so we started up Yosemite Falls. Nobody else there. We had the park to ourselves. Step after step. You get a quarter mile of the way up and you look back and you're just blown away by what you see. You get a mile up and you look back and you're just blown away by what you see. And then we get to the top and they're tricky, okay? They know what they're doing. They take you off the side of the mountain before you get to the top. So when you come around that last corner, you get to see everything for the first time. And we come around that corner, and this is the view from the top of Yosemite Falls where we get to see the entire valley. And it was gorgeous. And I know a lot of you are just stuck looking at my COVID hair, okay? Ignore that for a second. And look at the beauty of creation. This next picture, we got a little closer to the edge. Randy wouldn't come with us, but it shows you the mountain range and the gorgeous nature of where we were. It took my breath away. You make it to the top, and you have what seems like a never-ending supply of rushing water beside you pouring over the mountain cliff, giving life to everything in the valley. And you look around, it's the most beautiful scenery you've ever witnessed. And it's just one of those moments of complete awe. God wasn't winking at me. He was shaking me, saying, look at my creativity, my beauty, my splendor. And we hiked back down that mountain one step at a time. We get to the bottom, and Mark's Walmart shoes had given out. All right, he had holes in them. His feet were bruised and blistered and bloody. And he went to a bench at the bottom of the trail, and he sat down, and then he laid down. And I thought he was going to complain, but all he could say was, wow, that was incredible. It was one of those moments that just blew us away, awestruck by his creation, the beauty of it, as David tries to describe to us. He says it like this in Psalm 19. He says, God's glory is on tour in the skies. Just look around. It's on exhibit across the horizon. Madame Day holds classes every morning. Professor Knight lectures each evening. Their words aren't heard, their voices aren't recorded, but their silence fills the earth. Unspoken truth is spoken everywhere. Those mountains, that sunset, the horizon, the beauty of it all, didn't have to say a thing. And we knew. It struck us with awe. And you can be one of those people who says, oh, well, that's pretty. Or you can come to find out that it all has a creator, and you can be in awe of the one who is so creative, so profound, and is revealing himself through the beauty of a world whose complexity showcases the reality that it requires a creator, thoughtfulness, a plan. And the scriptures align with it perfectly. And so we've talked over these last few weeks about pulsars and whales that sing praise to God. We've talked about penguins and how those little creatures have some kind of like built-in instinct just to kind of waddle around and march, just as we have God-planted spiritual instincts within each of us that are only satisfied through relationship with Jesus Christ. And today, we're going to talk about, can I show you what we're going to talk about? Hey, Ella girl, come on out here. We're not going to talk about Ella girl. Where is she? Is she back there? Ella girl. There she is. We're going to talk about the little creature she has with him. Come here, Blue. Come here, Blue. Hey, buddy. Thank you, sweetie. I'll tell you what, babe. Go sit right over here for me so he can see, okay? Come here, Blue. Hey, come here. Come here. Come here. Look. Can you sit? Can you sit? That's a good boy. All right, everybody, check it out. This is, oh, I stepped on him. You didn't like that. I'm still on your tail. Hang on. There we go. All right, come here. Look, right here. Right here. This is Blue. All right. Blue is my dog. Kentucky Blue, not Duke Blue. Okay, we got that clear? And Blue and I, we have a complex relationship, all right? It started from birth. My mom gave him to us. She bred her lab with a poodle, and out came a labradoodle, and I was told he wouldn't shed. Well, that's false advertising because this beast, he sheds a lot, don't you? Don't you? Yes, you do. But overall, like, he's a really good dog. He's great with the kids, brings a ton of joy to the family. He's pretty easy. And you may be wondering, like, why do we have a dog on stage? What is that about? Well, we're going to go at this a little bit differently today, okay? The last couple of weeks, we've talked about how there's a whole bunch of examples in nature that resemble qualities we have as human beings, like penguins pursuing something. But there's also some things in nature that illustrate the truth about God's character, right? There's plenty in nature that resembles us, but there's also all these little God winks that show us the type of God he is. Hey, Ella girl, come over here for me. Come sit right up here. Is that okay? We have all these little God winks that show us the type of God he is. And there's traits of a dog that reveal something about their maker. Now, don't get me wrong, okay? Like, the illustration works up to a point. At some point, it comes up short. Blue, just a couple weeks ago, he got into a tub of chocolate protein powder, and he ate the whole thing, and then he gave it back to me, a little bit in every room of the house, all right? So the illustration's not perfect, but there are certainly some characteristics about this dog, about dogs in general, that I think point to the character of God, a God who loves us beyond our understanding. Because there's something about a dog's love and loyalty and consistency just blows me away. For example, sometimes I'll take Blue out for a ride with me on the trail. I'll ride my mountain bike, and he'll follow right behind. And we'll go through rivers and rocks and over crazy terrain, and we'll be rolling, and Blue stays right there on my heels. Now, there's something in him, like he knows me, he wants to be near me, but I also think he has like this built-in instinct to want to protect me. And so he pursues me. Doesn't matter how fast or how slow I go on the trail, he stays right there in my blind spot, right behind me, following me the entire way. One day, we went so hard and so long that he ran the pads off the bottom of his paws. But he wouldn't stop chasing. He has this built-in instinct to follow me to the place where he'll push through his own pain in pursuit of me. Or like sometimes my in-laws, when they come into town, we'll play hide and seek in my house. It's not a big house, tons of places to hide though. And you know how it goes. My mother-in-law and my 5-year-old, they'll go count to 40, right? They'll in the living room, and I'll say, like, grab on to Blue, hold on to him while we go hide. And I've found some pretty incredible hiding spots. Right, I'm a pro hider. This big body can fit into some small spots, all right? And I go, and I hide, and they get to 40, and they take off looking, and they let go of Blue. And in a matter of seconds, there he is. He sniffed me out, right? He's wagging his tail. He's so excited that he found me. And I try to, like, wave him away, shoo him away, but ultimately he won't leave my side, and he gives away my hiding spot, and I lose. And I don't like to lose, okay? Come on, dude. And the other thing about dogs is they have a love. Just kind of doesn't make sense. Have you noticed that? Like, I can discipline my dog for doing something wrong, like eating a tub of protein powder, and I can get real mad, and I can yell, and I can scream, and I can walk out of the house and back in again, and it's like it never really happened, right? He's just sitting there with his tail wagging, and he's got a big, stupid grin and smile on his face, and he is so excited to see me. Dogs have the ability to forget and then instantly express a deep and profound love, even when we don't deserve it. They have this love and affection that I think we can learn from. See, they have this built-in desire to pursue the thing that they love. And when a dog is in pursuit, like, good luck to you not being found, all right? Like, look at these ears, these big flappy ears, right? Did you know a dog can locate the source of a sound within 6/100th of a second from the moment they hear it? You ever seen a dog, like, perk up before and take off running? You didn't hear a thing, did you? But they did. Come here, not yet. We're almost there. Come here, right here. Or, like, check out this nose. All right, look at that big old nostril. Look at that dude. That's what really helps a dog to track and pursue, okay? A dog's sense of smell is about 1,000 times better than ours. They have about 1 million cell cells up in that nose of theirs, and each cell is 100 times larger than humans. He can smell through the plastic container of any protein powder I put in the house, can't you? Yes, you can. You okay? You hanging in there? Almost there, buddy, okay? We've all heard the stories or seen the movies about the dogs that when you give them the scent of someone who's missing, they run for days and days until they find that missing person, oftentimes finding them in their last few minutes of life, bringing rescue. That's what dogs do. They pursue, they chase, they find, and they love. They offer love. All right, thanks, Ellery. Come grab him for me, okay? You got him? Ready? Here we go. Go get her. Go get her. Good boy. Good boy. Give Blue a round of applause. There we go. Dogs chase, they pursue, they love, and the Bible describes God kind of like that. It's like this old poem describes him as the hound of heaven. This is written by a guy who lived life on his own, outwardly running from God, trying not to be found by God, living like hell. But all along, he says he felt the presence of God chasing him down like a hound dog. And the poem ultimately ends with him finally letting the hound of heaven catch him. And it describes how God changed, transformed, morphed his life. And we so often talk about our relationship with God, and we talk about how we seek after God, right? And that's true. Ben talked about it last week. We're all pursuing something ourselves. And so often what we do is we talk about how we are the seekers. But in the Bible, God reveals himself in a way that says he is also seeking us. He's pursuing us. He's coming after us. God is the one who is pursuing because God is the one who is faithful, who is consistent, and whose love is not easily offended or put off by our bad behavior. In our pursuit, we often get distracted. We run towards other things. We treat God poorly, and then we run away. But when we run away, he picks up our scent, and he follows after us with unconditional love that does not waver. Because God is a God of pursuits. He cares about you enough. He cares about each of us individually enough to pursue us. I mean, from the very beginning, God creates everything, all of it. He puts it in motion, and he puts it under the care of man and woman. And the relationship between humans and gods, at first, it was beautiful. They would run to him. They would be with him. They would fellowship with him. That is until Adam and Eve kind of mess it up. They blow it. And their eyes are open to sin and to their shame. And when that shame kicks in, it causes them to hide from God. They're now hiding from him. They once were running to him, and now they're running to hide from him because of their shame. And God's response shows the kind of God that he is. In Genesis 3, it says, "Then the man and his wife heard the sound of the Lord as he was walking in the garden in the cool of the day." They've sinned, they've screwed up, and so what do? They hid from the Lord God among the trees of the garden. But the Lord God called to the man, "Where are you?" You see, God isn't naive to what's going on in the life of Adam and Eve. He's not absent-minded to the reality they screwed up. And in this, we see the beauty of God's character, that his concern is first and foremost for his people who he loves when he calls out, "Where are you?" He doesn't lead with, "What have you done?" or "How dare you?" He starts by saying, "I need to know where you are. I am a God of pursuit. Where are you?" And of course, it's silly to hide from God. He knew where they were. The scriptures tell us that no one can hide any place that God doesn't know about. But we still try to. Like we try to run from God, and sometimes we try to keep certain parts of our life in hiding. And some of us, let's be honest, we're doing that right now, aren't we? We have secret places in our life that we're trying to hide. Or maybe you're full on sprinting away from God as fast as you can. Well, here's what you need to know about God. No matter who you are, no matter what you've done, no matter how far you've gone, what kind of sin you're caught up in, or what kind of secret life you're living, our God is a God of pursuit, and God keeps pursuing with an unwavering love, and he is hot on your trail, right in your blind spot, following behind you, not because he wants to discipline you, but because he loves you and wants to offer his grace to you. The story of the Bible, it reminds us that we are just prone to wander. We're prone to run. But it also reminds us that God is still there, following us, pursuing us, and ready to welcome us back to himself. He never stops pursuing his people. He's made a commitment to his people in the scriptures. And even though we keep running, God says, I love you, not because you're good enough, not because you're perfect. It's not because you've stayed faithful to him or you've lived the perfect Christian life. Don't give yourself that much credit, all right? You've wondered, I've wondered. We've all done what Isaiah says when he says, we all, like sheep, we've gone astray. Each of us has turned to our own way. And yet, he's running right behind you. No matter how fast or how far you run, you cannot outpace his grace and his love and his kindness. Psalm 139, it reminds us that we can't hide from God. David says, like, where can I go from your spirit? Where can I flee from your presence? And then he goes on to answer the question, nowhere. God is there. He's on your heels, and he is pursuing you. David frames it up this way in Psalm 23. We've preached on Psalm 23 just recently. You can go check it out online. In Psalm 23, it's like, the Lord is my shepherd, right? I lack nothing. He leads me. He guides me. His rod and his staff, they comfort me. Even when I'm in the valley, he is with me. But I want to focus on verse 6, because this is trying to describe the character of the hound of heaven who is chasing after us. And it says, surely your goodness and your love will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. The words follow me in this text, they should be translated a bit more forcefully. It's an underwhelming way to translate it. The word in Hebrew would be more accurately translated to pursue. And not just any pursuit, it's like a military pursuit, taking ground, pushing forward no matter what. Surely your goodness and your mercy and your love will pursue me. God's not like some distracted cat who will just lay there and play with a ball of yarn, who doesn't even care that you're in the room, okay? You all knew some cat hate was coming at some point, all right? After all, what is dog spelled backwards? That's right. That's right. It took you a minute, but you got there. God is a God of pursuits. He wants to be in relationship with you. And he will track and shadow and chase and pursue you your entire life until you finally slow down and let him show you life with him is the best way. You just gotta stop running. And you know that God showed us the full extent to which he was willing to go to pursue us through the person of Jesus. Goodness and mercy are chasing us down, frantically looking for us all the days of our life. And that is the very reason that Jesus came. In Luke 19:10, Jesus says, hey, you want to know why I came? The Son of Man came to seek, to pursue, to chase after that which is lost and save them. His entire mission is to pursue people. The entire mission of Jesus was to pursue you. And there's moment after moment in Jesus' life where he demonstrates his pursuit of people. And there's this whole segment of people in the world who believe in a God that just put the world in motion, and then he puts his head down and he's letting it all play out. But that's not our God. That's not the character of God that our scriptures reveal. Our God is the hound of heaven. He doesn't just let us be. He chases after us, every single one of us. Our God wants to be in relationship with us so badly that he stepped into the world, put on flesh and bone, and started pursuing people. And on Jesus' time on earth, like he seeks, he pursues, he chases, he interacts with people. The paralyzed, the leper, the tax collector, the centurion, the woman who was caught in adultery, the lawyer, the man born blind, the rich, the poor, the sinner, the religious, the thief, the doubter, the betrayer. The list could go on and on. But we worship a God who loves us so much, each and every single one of us, that he stepped into the world to find us no matter what the cost. And it cost him everything, even his very life. Regardless of where it is you're running to, or what you're running from, or what you've done, Jesus says, I'm still here. And I'm right behind you, seeking, chasing, pursuing, just waiting for you to stop so that I can show you the love and the grace and the kindness that I have to offer. He's on your heels. You just got to stop and let him catch you. And if you do, he's going to show you a life of rest from the run. He's going to show you a love that you don't deserve. He's going to offer you grace that you cannot fathom. And he will give you guidance that you so desperately need. And he will show you a life of peace that surpasses all understanding. He will give you purpose that you don't currently have, all because you stopped running from him and instead started living life with him in relationship with the God who is pursuing you right now. Just slow down. Stop running. Let him catch up. See what happens. He's there. He's chasing. He's following. You open that door, he's going to love you so much. Nothing changes with his love. It is consistent and it is perfect. And this church is filled with people who have tried to run from God only to be found by him. When they stop running, the love of Jesus, it comforts them. He wraps them in his arms and he transforms their life. And I want to share with you Kristen's story. This is a story of pursuit. God didn't stop chasing, and eventually she stopped running. And look at what happened in her life. Check this out.
And my name is Kristen Pindell. I came from a pretty average family. You know, I never really felt like I fit in my own skin. I didn't do well in school. You know, I didn't do well in sports. I didn't make friends easily. I was chubby. All of the things that I think makes a young girl uncomfortable and not really like herself. I don't feel like I ever really liked myself. I, was a rebel at heart, so I would go against the grain whenever chance I had. I always really believed in God, but I didn't know him. He always felt very authoritative to me. You know, I was pretty young when I started experimenting with drugs and alcohol. I did not graduate high school. And I just spent years chasing that and just really trying to run from everyone because I didn't like who I was becoming or who I was. For 15 years, I think I was in active addiction. I hurt everyone that I cared about. I engaged in activities that were illegal and outside of who God created me to be. And, those activities led me to be incarcerated a few times. And, it just became this really toxic cycle of, being incarcerated. I'd have some time where I wasn't using because I didn't really have a choice. I'd be released and I'd relapse. And, each time around the cycle, I think I just got a little deeper and I always went a little further than I ever really intended to go. But with each turn around that cycle, I also felt less and less capable of getting out of it. I wasn't angry at God. I knew that I made the decisions myself. But again, I was just kind of running from him, from everything, from life, like the reality of what I could have been, just it got further and further away. And so it was a pretty dark time. The last time I was incarcerated was the last time. I was in Maryland Correctional Institute for Women, which is not a good place. The cell that I was placed in this time around was exceptionally filthy. I was still kind of sick. I was still kind of going through a withdrawal, to be honest with you. And I felt like I would have been better off if I would have died than have to live through this sentence in this cell. And and that evening, the doors in prison are on like a mechanism that they shut at a certain time because it's lock-in time. And when the door closed, the back side of the door was revealed. And on the back of the door was also graffiti, Sharpied. It was the full Serenity Prayer. It was like from top to bottom, the whole door. And there was nothing else written on the door. It was just the Serenity Prayer. I almost felt like, is this a joke? Right? Like, look at the rest of the cell, and here's this like little ray of light, this little ray of hope. And I read it, and I read it again, and I read it again. God grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, the wisdom to know the difference, living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time, accepting hardship as a pathway to peace. And I remember getting on my knees on that cell floor and just like really sobbing. It was the first time I truly surrendered to God. And I knew that God put me in that cell for a reason. Like I said, I'd always believed in God. I just didn't know him, and I think I was afraid of him. And in that moment, I felt like I didn't have anywhere else to turn. And every bit of the guilt and the shame and the pain and everything, it just came out in those tears. In that moment, I felt him with me on a cold cell floor. He was with me, and I believed that there was something to it, and that he could save me from myself. After that, it was just, I'm gonna give this Jesus a chance. I know that sounds really crazy, but it's the truth. Is I still had a lot of relationships that I damaged. I still had to go through all of the time that I had there. As soon as I could, I started going to church in prison. And I started reading the Bible because it was the only book I had. I just joined Bible studies. And, little by little, that period of time in my life made all the difference in the world. It saved my life. When I was released, I was actually pretty fearful because I'd been protected in prison. I knew he was with me every step of the way. But I was still struggling with, I guess, my shame. I'm feeling like I didn't belong in church because of my past. I tried a couple different places, and then I tried Mountain. I went to Edgewood, and I felt like I was home. And I've been attending ever since. My husband and I were married in 2022. We actually got clean together. I have to say he's been one of the most important pieces to my story. I did just graduate from college in May. God put me in a place in work where I'm working with other addicts. I'm in a position of leadership now. I was promoted last year. I'm leading small groups at Celebrate Recovery. It's amazing. It's amazing. I could have never done these things. These are not my accomplishments. They're not mine, they're his. It's not a straight line. There's a lot of dips. But Jesus is my hope. And in the beginning of this, I didn't have hope. I didn't see any way out of this hole, or this life that I built for myself, this really dark life that I built for myself. And I just had no idea that I could be the person I am today. I am more the person that God made me to be today than I've ever been in my life. And there's really a lot of beauty in that. Just knowing that I'm right in the center of where he wants me today.
Yeah. You know, we all have a story like Kristen's. Maybe not identical. You don't find yourself in a literal jail cell. But we're all like running towards or from something, pursuing something other than God, but there he is on our heels. God is pursuing us. And just like Kristen, all of us have an opportunity to drop to our knees and surrender to him. God is there. He is pursuing. Maybe you're just starting to realize that he is. Jesus describes his own love as the type that will leave the 99 to seek after the one, to pursue the one, to find the one. In the prodigal son story that Ben shared last week, the father doesn't wait for the son to get home, but instead he runs out to the son and wraps his arms around him. Jesus is the one with the flashlight out looking for the person who's missing. Jesus is the one who celebrates and throws a party every single time that which was his was lost is now found. He is seeking you. You just need to stop and let him catch up. And I promise you, if you do that, you're going to experience love that is so much more than a wink. It will take your breath away in awe. We're going to sing a song together here in just a moment at all of our campuses. A song about a love that pursues. And if you walk with the Lord, let me encourage you, let this song be a declaration that you've been found. Sing it out, scream it out, praise it out, that you are postured at his feet now, no longer his feet behind you, but instead they are with you. That you've been found and you find rest in him. And if you're new to this journey, let me encourage you to listen to the words of these songs. Let me encourage you to get found today. Start that relationship with him today. God is pursuing you. Maybe you're just coming to realize it. If someone invited you here today with them, that is God pursuing you through them. If you feel like something is missing from your life, that there is a God-shaped hole in your heart, then that is God saying, wake up, I am pursuing you. If that's you, and you're ready to be found today, tell someone, let them pray with you. Put it on that connection card in your seat back pocket and put it in one of our info center kiosks on your way out so that someone from our staff can follow up with you and share more about what it looks like to be found by Jesus and what it looks like to start walking with him through baptism. God's chasing after you. You just got to stop and let him catch up. I'm going to invite you, let's stand together and let's sing this song. And let's let these words be our prayer together today.
Before I spoke a word, you were singing over me. You have been so good to me. Before I took a breath, you breathed your life in me. You have been so kind to me. All the
mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. Sing it. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. Oh, there's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found. Here's the 99. I couldn't earn it, I don't deserve it.